thing. Like the platforms, maybe this is a chance for me to talk about the local impact, investing activity a little bit. And I think that's where the, other investors interested in these regions can have a great, entry point, through those relationships, through those sort of connections with those, local investors who know the issues and the entrepreneurs and the market so well, so that we can reduce this perceived risk. I mean, there is risk that exists that, maybe can be mitigated, managed, but then there's this misperception of risk that, with the right relationships and the, right, knowledge and data, that can be reduced and hopefully can, open the sort of floodgates a little bit more to capital flows. I mean, if you think of like refugees, for example, or displaced populations as a frontier market of its own, not specific to any one country, I mean, those communities are perceived as super high risk and, not worth lending to, or, too costly, etc. But data prove, otherwise. Kiva's data show otherwise, in terms of the sort of the reliability, the repayment rates, many other microfinance institutions serving those communities show otherwise. So, a lot of the risk is also misperception, and we need to break down those sort of myths. Um, the the other maybe sort of way to, have impact capital, especially from, elsewhere in the world to flow into these frontier markets, is to not just invest in the investment readiness of the enterprises, but also sort of like the impact readiness of the enterprises. Um, for the companies, for the enterprises that, you know, already maybe sort of investable, right? Are they, telling their impact story um, sufficiently? Are they capturing and managing their, impact, sufficiently so that they can market also to the impact, ecosystems broadly is another question on
Hmm.
the point. And there are thematic sort of like support to companies around this. There's gender smart, technical assistance, or we have, refugee lands investing technical assistance, which is not about sort of broader investment readiness, but you know, around those inclusion metrics and the impact metrics for those companies that make them, more attractive to impact investors, and that can change the impact flows a little bit as well. I won't get into capital sort of product fit with markets. I think we already covered that quite a bit. But that's, of course, very true. The impact linked, financing has been a good model as well that we have seen work in Jordan for even like refugee communities. Um, really supporting enterprises based on the impact sort of metrics that they're meeting. And catalytic capital, of course, not just sort of concessionary capital that distorts the markets maybe or is short term, but then when it runs out, the entrepreneur is sort of left, not ready for you know, the broader market. So it doesn't really solve anything, but capital that can unlock other, capital and reduce the risk. You know, those products, those sort of, approaches is what is working in a lot of the cases, and that we need